Welcome to the Fit Dad Club podcast. My name is Travis Jones, and we're here for another week and another episode. And it's a solo episode today. And what we're going to talk about today is becoming your future self and how to do it now. When we're looking to achieve a transformation, we're looking to, get fit, lose weight, gain muscle, become a role model, the best version of ourselves for our family. Essentially, we're looking into the future to become our future self. And I just finished listening to a book for the second time. It is a great book, and it's called Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I'm going to break down some of the learnings from that book today. Now, he talks about threats to your future self. He talks about truths about your future self, and he gives you a couple of sort of steps on the way to get there. And I'm going to sort of move through the book, and it's not going to be a big podcast today, but it's definitely going to have some good takeaways on how to actually create that future self, that the dream, the vision that you're actually looking for, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look into the future and transform who we are into who we want to be, and over time close that gap. And he talks about these threats, and I think one of the biggest threats is, he says, without hope in the future, the present loses meaning. So what that means is if we don't have hope, and we need hope because hope gives that we have a sense of agency, a sense of control in our life that we can do this to achieve that result. And there is multiple pathways to get there. That's essentially what hope is. So we have to believe that yes, we can. Yes, I do have control. And yes, if pathway A doesn't happen, then pathway B or C or D, and I keep going down the list. And then I'll get to the goal that I'm after. And without hope, if I don't have this hope that I will get to that, my future self, then the present loses meaning, because if I have doubt and I was like, I can't do this, I won't be able to achieve this, we start to slide on our current behaviors, and they don't have meaning behind what we're doing today, the steps, the training, the nutrition. We start to become complacent, we start to lose focus, or we lack focus, and we don't actually get there. So we always have to have hope. We always have to know, yes, if I do these things, then I'll get that result. And if it doesn't work on this perfect pathway A, then I'll just go to pathway B. I'll go from, clean eating to, if it fits your macros, to carnivore diet, to whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, we all know it's just a calorie deficit and, hit about 2 grams of protein per kilo. Like, we know these things we've talked about in the past. So yes, there is a specific way, but if you're unaware or uneducated on some topics, there is so many pathways, but you need to go from pathway A or strategy A, and you have to go to strategy B with unwavering focus, and you have to have belief in yourself that you will get there. And that is, if you don't have hope and you're filled with doubt, then that is a threat to your future self. The next one is the narrative of your past will stall your future growth as well. So if we look in the mirror and we don't take responsibility, right? If we blame other people, if we make excuses, if we justify why we put on 10, 20, 30 kilos, then that's going to stall it. It's going to be a threat to our future growth, because those same things that happened that got us today to 20 kilos overweight will happen again, because we're not taking responsibility and ownership over them. And if we're blaming other people, if those people come back into our life, then the history will repeat itself. If we are making excuses like work was busy, then when work gets busy again, then history will repeat itself. If we start to justify our behaviors, I was tired, whatever the hell was going on, then it will repeat itself until we look in the mirror and go, no, I did this to myself. I put on 20 kilos and I didn't prioritize my health. I made the decisions that led me to today, which is under-energized, overweight, and a little bit lower in confidence than I'd like. And because I did this, I can undo this. Until we change that narrative of taking full and complete ownership and full responsibility, and we actually get real with ourselves, and it's like, no, I did this and I'm not going to tolerate it any longer, then we will continue to sabotage everything moving forward. The next one is being unaware of your environment. That will create randomness. And we talk about this a fair bit, right? It's like you live your life by default or by design. So our goal is, if our environment is random, or if our environment has chaos, then we can't have linear growth. We're looking for linear growth, but we're looking for random execution. If we always fall down because we're eating chocolate or drinking beers with our mates, and we don't create an environment where the beers aren't there, or we're catching up with our mates somewhere else, like maybe at the gym, or you're always overeating chocolate and chocolate's always in the house, or whatever it is, or even like when we're looking at trying to get up in the morning and we haven't created an environment that gets you out of bed without pressing snooze 17 times and then you miss the gym. We need to not create a random environment. We need to create a calculated environment that will help us lead us to success. So we structure our days, we structure our weeks, we structure what food is in the house, what alcohol is in the house, what drinks are in the house. We structure where we're going to see people. We control the narrative. And I think that is a big thing. So we don't want randomness as much as we can. The randomness is always going to happen in life, but we want to control it as much as we possibly can to diminish the amount of randomness that will happen. Next is being disconnected from your future leads to decisions based on short-term satisfaction or short-term gratification rather than that long-term gain. If we're not connected to like the 20 kilos lost, like what that looks like, how that will change our life, how that will change our confidence, how that will change our energy, how that will make us a better dad, how that will make us better at work, how that will make us a better partner, because it will do all of those things. You lose the weight, you get more energy, you gain some more muscle, you will gain more confidence. You will gain more energy. You will be a better dad. You will be a better partner. You will be better at work. So we can't be disconnected from the reason why we're undertaking this journey. Because if we are, what happens, again, we'll go, I've lost a couple of kilos, I'll have the chocolate now, or I'll skip today's workout. I've done pretty good this week. And again, we'll justify, we'll blame, we'll make excuses. So we need to always have, whether you write it down and you put it on the screensaver of your phone, or you put it on the fridge. And it's like you have to have the reason why you're doing this, and you need to be connected to the future version of you on who that is and why you're actually going after it. Not understanding our priorities will stop us from achieving our future self. And it is about priorities at the end of the day. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And what got you here is your health wasn't a priority to you. And we need to shift the values around. Maybe, family and work was the biggest priorities, and we need to shift health above work, right? Maybe we do. You have multiple jobs in your life. You have one body that's supposed to take you for the rest of your life. So it should be one of the biggest priorities, if not even bigger than your family, because if you have your health, number one, you'll be there for them longer. You'll be the best version of you. You'll be there for another decade. You'll be able to walk your daughter down the aisle, or you'll be able to play with your grandkids. And it's not guaranteed if your health is declining, because the trajectory of us is putting on 10 kilos every decade. And then, another 20 years, it's another 20 kilos of weight, which is going to lead to a whole rife of cardiovascular or heart disease or health-related illnesses. So health needs to understand, I need to prioritize this. And it's being truly, again, real with yourself that this needs to be the biggest thing in my life, because it allows me to be the best version of myself for everyone else in my life. So reprioritizing, that is a big thing, because, at the moment you're tolerating being overweight, and, we get what we tolerate in life. And if you're sick of tolerating it, it's time to shift your priorities. Now, the last thing he talks about being a threat is not being in the arena is failing by default. And a lot of us, we sort of tiptoe into the arena that is, the body transformation. And then we think it might be a bit hard. Life might be a bit busy. You might be a bit time poor. Maybe your structure of your week just isn't right. And then we step back out of the arena, because it's a lot easier to be in the grandstand, commenting on other people who are actually battling it out in the arena. So we want to step into the arena, no matter how hard it is. Like, change is hard, life is hard, but you can either choose the hard now, so it's easy later, or you can choose the easy now, which is sitting in the grandstand, and it's going to be hard later. And it'll be pretty hard, when you're dealing with that. So we want to try and battle it out in the arena while we can, while we're younger, so the rest of our life is that little bit easier. So don't be the person sitting in the grandstand, commenting on other people and why they're failing, when we are a bit, hypocritical because we're not even stepping into the arena ourselves. Now he goes on to the next part of the book, which is the truths about the future self. And some of these cross over a little bit, but it talks about your future drives your present you. The future you drives the present you. So we need to look into the future and we can act as if. So if we look at it, maybe that person, maybe you're 110 kilos right now. Maybe you want to get down to 85 kilos. That's your fighting weight. You're going to be lean. You're going to be fit. You're going to be strong. You're going to feel fantastic. You know how you are when you are that weight, and you know that, you're going to be able to hang out with your kids. You're going to be able to run with your kids. You play with your kids. Maybe, you'll be the water boy for their football games because you have the energy and the fitness to be able to do that. I'm not sure what it is, but the world of opportunities to play with your kids dramatically increases once you become fit and able to do that with them. But the future you, what do they do? What do they do? How do they eat? How do they act? Do they press snooze? Do they do the extra steps? Do they make excuses about the workout, or they get out there and do it? Do they allow motivation to drive their decisions, or they just get it done even if they can't be asked doing it because they're the type of man who just does what he said he was going to do? And they know that, every notch on the scoreboard, if they have 60% because it's been a bit of a hard week and today I only have 60%, they still give 100% of that 60% today. It's not about having 100% every day, but it's giving 100% of what they have every single day. And we look at ours like, what are the character traits of them? Do they have self-respect? Do they have courage? Do they have courage to step out and try and become the best version of you? Because that does require courage. They have humility to understand that maybe I do need to increase my skill set and have accountability and be a part of a tribe. What they have? And we need to look at what character traits do they have? What behaviors do they have? What do they do? What's their default decisions? How do they act when they get stressed? Do they eat as a coping mechanism? Do they drink as a coping mechanism? Or maybe they go for a run. Maybe they get a massage. I don't know. But only you know what your future self would do. And if we can look at the behaviors they have and the character traits that they have, and they go, well, this is the type of man I need to be. I don't have to wait until I've lost the weight to be that. I can live in the present right now with those character traits. It is hard. And those behaviors, it will be hard because getting momentum and gaining momentum is tough. But once you have momentum, it is a little bit easier. That's why we do the hard now, for it to be easier later. And we need to let that future you drive present you until the gap between future you and present you, closes and you are the same person. And he says the more vivid and detailed you are of your future self, the faster you will get there. If we're looking at future you and how they interact with your kids, maybe you run park run every weekend with them. Maybe that right now it's a bit of a pipe dream, which is a 5-kilometer run, and you run with your kids, and maybe that's what you do. It's like you can see yourself running park run. You can see yourself going surfing. You can see yourself getting into the gym with your boys as they grow up. I can see this because that's my vivid picture. Like, I want to be fit and healthy so I can prolong the amount of time I get to hang out and play with my boys to, help as they become my mates as long as possible. You want to see it. Like, what is the vision of this? And the better you can see yourself aesthetically, what you look like. You can see yourself on how you carry yourself. Maybe your chest, you push your chest out a little bit more. You walk with a bit more confidence. Maybe you walk a little bit taller. And how you interact and how you can vividly see when frustration happens, how you cope with that frustration. What your holidays look like. Maybe it's not sitting at a swim up pool drinking. Maybe it's more active and you're taking your kids on adventure-based holidays. I don't know what that is, but only you know what that is. But I want you to create a vivid and detailed future self. And that means you'll be drawn faster towards that. And the actions you take, you'll get excited about it because you see that gap closing between who you are now and who they are. Now, you have to understand that failing as your future self is going to be better than being your current self. So maybe you've had this 10x dream of what this looked like, and you created this vivid, detailed imagery of on what that looks like. And, maybe you did fall a little bit short. Maybe, your marathon wasn't under 3 hours. Maybe it was 3 hours 30. Maybe you lost 18 kilos and not 22 kilos. Maybe you didn't get abs, but you lost the love handles and you feel really confident in a t-shirt. Failing to achieve that vivid, detailed imagery of what it looks like and how you act and how you be, and maybe failing at that and falling a little bit short is still better than being 22 kilos overweight, not being able to run, 5 kilometers, let alone 42 kilometers. It is okay to fail sometimes, but what they say, you shoot for the moon and you land the stars, that's completely fine. So, have that 10x version of you and really shoot for it, because, if you land a little bit short, you're still going to get the 9x version of you. And the last thing he talks about, the truth about the future self, is, you have this one decision, which is to become your future self, and then that rules all other decisions. If I've decided to lose, the 20 kilos, then all decisions from now are actually predetermined. And I like this the most. And it doesn't say in these exact words, but other books sort of say it's like one decision rules over all other decisions. So if I decide to lose 20 kilos, and then whenever I have any other decision, it's easy, right? Should I go and go for a walk to get my 10,000 steps in? Well, does this take me towards the initial decision to lose 20 kilos? Yes or no? Yes. Well, I've made the decision already. I do the steps. Should I eat the hamburger or should I eat the steak? Which one's going to fit my calories and which one will take me towards hitting that 20 kilo loss? Is it the steak or the hamburger? Maybe it was the steak. Should I do the extra rep and extra set inside this workout, or do I just cut it and go home early? Which one takes me closer to losing the 20 kilos? The decision has been made. The one decision rules over all other decisions. And then when you ask yourself, do I want to do it? You can just simply ask yourself, where does it fall in the category of that initial decision? And then that secondary decision, in the moment where we normally falter and default back to instant gratification, we don't, because we know that decision has already been made. Now, if we're looking at the steps to create this future self, the first thing we need to do is we need to clarify the purpose behind this. And again, we have touched on this briefly already tonight, or today on the podcast, but you need to have purpose. You need to have meaning. It's a strong enough why will overcome any how, right? Like you push through the hard days if you have that why behind you. And if you're listening to this, it is the Fit Dad Club podcast, so you probably do have kids, and they're the strongest why you possibly could have. We know that kids do what we do, not what we say. And for me personally, I want to be the healthiest version of me, so then they can become the healthiest versions of them. And I don't give them, excuses, or dad, couldn't do it all. Dad couldn't, grow the business and be fit and have a great relationship. He had to pick one, or he had to pick two. But I wanted to show them that it is possible to have a great relationship and grow a business and be as healthy as I can be. I wanted to show them it's like not a decline after 40, but you can still keep moving forward, so then they don't have excuses later on in life. And, I have been overweight in my life, and, I guess I didn't at that point because my kids were really young, but I could have. If I looked in the mirror and I said, and this would have been a big motivator for me. I didn't have this conversation, but if I did look in the mirror and it's like, do I want my kids to feel how I feel right now, which is low in confidence, high in self-doubt, a bit hypocritical in the industry that I'm in with how I was feeling. I was low on energy, relying on caffeine. I was irritable more often than not because of how I felt about myself, and I projected that outwards on other people. And do I want my kids to be this? Because our kids tend to walk in our footsteps with our behaviors. And the answer would have been no. And that would have been a swift kick up the ass for me. And that would have given me purpose to drive myself forward. And, I didn't have that conversation, but I had a similar conversation to get me going because I wanted to be a role model for my son. But that would have been a big driver for me. So maybe you could do that. Now, we want to eliminate distractions. Okay, as we're doing the steps towards the best version of us, we want to eliminate all distractions, all lesser goals, right? I want you to drive yourself forward towards that vivid vision. And if the stepping stone goals aren't in line with that, then we don't do that at all. We want to eliminate all distractions from our big three goals, which is, love, work, and health. And we have these big three goals that drive all other goals. Like I said, one decision drives other decisions. We don't want competing goals whilst we're doing this. You want to also ask for exactly what you want. I think this is a big thing. You want to write this down. You want to ask the world, and what we ask and then put actions around, we will receive. We want to ask the world for what we want. Like, what do you want? Do you want abs? Like, go get them. Let's get them together. Like, let's drive ourselves towards getting you a set of abs and a set of confidence. And like, you might, that's not possible. Everyone has abs. Every single person on this planet. If you didn't have abs, you'd fall over. So we all have abs under there. So all it is there's a level of body fat over the top of those. You want to get a set of abs and you haven't had them before. If you have had them before, hey, let's get you there. It's actually easier than you think. If you want to run a sub-3 marathon, let's do it. You want to deadlift, 200, 300 kilos, let's do that. You want to just be the fittest version of you for your kids, let's make sure that we are clear of what that looks like and ask for that. Let's get after it, because if you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it. And then we want to put actions and behind it. We want to systemize and schedule our future self. And I think this is a big thing. When we talked about prioritization earlier and we talked about creating a schedule, I think this is a big thing about implementation intentions. They've done studies around this, and, there was a 12-week study where, a third of the group, essentially watched a movie, and they were trying to lose weight, watched a movie about motivation. A third of the group wanted to just lose weight, and they didn't watch the movie. They just wanted to lose weight. Yes, I'll train and lose weight over the next 12 weeks. And then another third of the group watched a motivational movie about why they should do it and how to do it and be motivated. And then a third of the group watched the movie and also wrote, I'll work out on this day at this place at this time and do this activity. And they did it, like, say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. lifting weights. And at the place they were going to do it. The group that put the implementation intention in place, which is the place, the time, the what, and the where, and maybe the who as well, they were 90% likely to stick to the schedule, which would then obviously work out to achieving the result they're after. The people who just had the goal to do the working out, that 30% of them followed through, and people who watched the motivational video and said they were going to work out, like 33%. So you're 60% more likely to follow through with your goal if you just schedule it into your life and you write down what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, and who you're going to do it with, and what you're actually going to do there. So, systemize your schedule. It makes a 60% difference. And that's a massive difference. So I think that is a big thing we all can take away from this. And it's understanding this last one, that's complete the imperfect work. Now, a lot of us have an all or nothing mindset. If we only have, 20 minutes, we don't do the workout. When instead you can get a great workout in 20 minutes. Maybe it's not the perfect workout. Maybe it's an imperfect workout. But doing an imperfect workout for 20 minutes is better than doing no workout. Instead of having that all or nothing mindset, instead of all or nothing, we want to do a bit of something. If you can't get the exact calorie, maybe you had a muffin and it wasn't on your calories and today, and all of a sudden it derailed you, and then you started overeating the rest of the meals for the rest of the day, and then you said, I'll start again on Monday, and you overwent on your calories for the next 3 days on a food eating bender, because we had this all or nothing mindset, when it's like, instead you had the muffins, like, just make your next meal your best meal. So I want you to complete the imperfect work as you're moving towards your future self, because you'll get there much faster than an all or nothing mindset. And that were the big takeaways from the book. We talked about the threats of your future self today, the truth for your future self, and also the steps to achieve the future self as well. And if you need help getting from where you are to where you want to be, which is that future self, go to fit-dad.club and schedule in a call, and we can have a chat. And we can talk about the steps and the processes on how to get you there. And, I want you to rate the podcast, leave a review, write a comment, troll me or don't troll me, give us a comment as we're going through this. But guys, we appreciate all feedback on the podcast. We appreciate the likes, the reviews, the ratings, and we appreciate helping out all those dads out there that do need help and do want support and have the humility to ask for it. So that's it for another podcast today, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.